Have you been feeling tired, moody, or just not yourself lately? Are you struggling with brain fog, weight changes, or weird periods? It might not just be stress, but your hormones could be out of balance. In this video today, I'm going to go into what hormone imbalance really looks like, when to get tested, how to get tested, and more importantly, how to start feeling better. Whether you're in your 20s, 40s, or 60s, or anywhere in between. Hormones run the show on your body. They affect everything from your energy, your sleep, mood, metabolism, and even your skin. And it's not just hormones like estrogen, progesterone that we're talking about, but the thyroid hormones, stress hormones, and even insulin and testosterone. All this matters when your body is feeling off. So when do hormone issues start? Hormones don't just flip a switch. They shift in waves, sometimes slowly and sometimes suddenly. And the symptoms can show up much earlier than you'd expect. In your teens and 20s, it might look like the typical PMS type of symptoms. This is cramps, irregular periods, heavy periods, mood changes. As you get older in your 30s and 40s, the hormones become less predictable, especially as you move into perimenopause. That's when estrogen and progesterone can rise and fall unevenly, leading to mood swings, sleep issues, and symptoms like brain fog. In your 50s, menopause arrives, bringing a sharp drop in the hormones, especially estrogen. And new symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, and things like bone loss start to accelerate. Some women can go through early menopause or surgical menopause due to a hysterectomy, which can bring about more sudden, intense symptoms. So how do you know if what you're feeling is normal or a sign that something is off? Whether you're a teenager in your 20s, 40s, or 60s, no matter what your age, if your symptoms are new, severe, or just not feeling right, it's worth paying attention to. The sooner you understand what's happening, the sooner you can get answers and start feeling like yourself again. So if the symptoms you've just been brushing off as like you've got brain fog or stubborn weight gain, it could be a sign that the hormones are out of balance. Some of the most common symptoms include for women in menopause are hot flashes, night sweats, trouble sleeping, mood changes, anxiety, brain fog. In your teenage years, 20s and 30s, irregular periods, missed periods, low libido, weight gain, especially around the belly, can all occur. If you've got symptoms like hair loss, acne, or skin changes, it could be a sign of something like PCOS. And you don't need to check off all of these symptoms. Even having 1, 2, or 3 of the symptoms could be a clue. So your sex hormones, your thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones, and insulin all work together. When one of these goes out of balance, it can throw off the rest. So when assessing hormone imbalance, it's important to check your symptoms, but also assess your lab results, as this can be important for guiding treatment. Most doctors can order this, and they're affordable and widely available. And so while doctors can order them, they often don't. They'll give the excuse that, why bother checking hormones? They change all the time. And while this is totally true, if you understand what stage of the cycle you're testing at, you can make sure that you're in the range, or the optimal range for that time of the cycle. So there's no point getting a random blood test for hormones and not paying attention to which time of the cycle you're in, especially if you're getting a regular menstrual cycle. Start with testing your sex hormones. Estradiol is your main estrogen, and this changes as you age and also throughout the cycle. Progesterone, and this is best tested around day 21 if you still have a period. FSH and LH, they track ovarian function, and high FSH especially usually means you're heading into menopause. I usually recommend testing in the luteal phase of the cycle, which is around 5 to 7 days after ovulation, which works out around day 19 and 22 of your cycle, especially if you're looking at both estrogen and progesterone. If you're only looking at estrogen, you may want to check around day 3 to 5 of the cycle. You also want to look at the androgens. This is testosterone, both free and total. Sometimes doctors only check total, and DHEA and sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG. These can tell you more about your PCOS risk, adrenal function, and many people think of testosterone as a male hormone. But what many people don't realize is women actually have more testosterone than estrogen. It's just that when you look at the blood test and the estrogen levels are numbers higher, they're using different units, so you can't kind of compare the both that way. Also, don't forget thyroid function. You want to measure TSH, free T4, free T3, and the thyroid antibodies. Thyroid problems can mimic or amplify your sex hormone imbalances. And finally, you also want to check other blood markers like ferritin, vitamin D, B12, fasting insulin, HbA1c, and the standard CBC and CMP, which is usually what doctors only check. So these can help to explain fatigue, weight gain, blood sugar issues, and these can all affect your hormones. So what do you do if the labs come back normal, but you still don't feel right? This is where either getting someone more experienced to assess your results for you, or doing some more advanced tests like the Dutch test or the Vibrant Wellness Hormone Zoomer. These go into much deeper detail than the standard blood test, and they can tell you what's really going on. The Dutch test stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones, and this not only shows the hormone levels, but how you're metabolizing estrogen and testosterone, and also the adrenal hormones like cortisol. It'll show you total cortisol and the free cortisol levels throughout the day. So if you have persistent symptoms like fatigue and menstrual cycle issues, that's a great test. The Vibrant Wellness Hormone Zoomer is a similar test. It measures all of the sex hormones in the exact same way as the Dutch test, measures the adrenal function, but it also measures 10 of the most common endocrine disruptors. These are environmental toxins like BPA, glyphosates that can affect your hormone levels. And we'll also measure bone turnover markers to help you understand if you're at greater risk of osteoporosis. This is a new test, and it's probably my new favorite test for assessing hormones. The blood tests are great. You can do them more frequently because they're cheaper to do, but it's like a quick snapshot. Whereas the Dutch test or the Vibrant Wellness test is like the full-length movie, giving you much more detail into what's going on with your hormones. Once you have your test results, the most important thing is having someone understand them and interpret them for you. You want someone that sees the big picture and not just looking at, one or two hormones in isolation, because they all work together. You want to make sure that you're optimal for your age and time of your cycle. So many times I hear comments from clients saying, my doctor told me everything is normal, but I'd still feel crap. Just because you're in that reference range, it doesn't mean you're in the optimal range. Plus, the labs are just a guide. You also want to focus on your symptoms because they are the most important thing that can show what is out of balance. So what do you do if your hormones are out of balance? Well, of course, that's going to depend on the test results. Is your estrogen too high, progesterone too low, or the other way around? Is cortisol or low testosterone part of the problem? Are you insulin resistant? Generally speaking, every treatment plan will include lifestyle changes focusing on things like exercise, diet, stress management, and sleep. Often nutritional and herbal supplements can help. And of course, these are going to depend on the results, but herbs, nutrients like vitamin D, omega-3, magnesium, adaptogens can all help to balance the hormones. I'm going to go through the herbs for hormone imbalance in a lot more detail in an upcoming video. HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, can be a life changer for many women, especially when started at the right time. You don't want to leave it too late, and if you've got lots of symptoms, your lab results are showing low levels of hormones, especially when you reach menopause or perimenopause, you want to optimize your hormone levels, not just to help with symptoms, but also help to prevent things like bone loss, protect you against cardiovascular disease, and overall long-term health. And it used to be thought that this was something you took for 3 to 4 years, but there's really no reason why you can't take HRT long-term. And remember, if you're doing HRT, it doesn't mean you can't do the natural treatments as well. They're complementary and they work together. So what are some of the red flags you've got to watch out for? When is it time to see a specialist? So if you start getting hot flashes or no periods before the age of 40, or if you get sudden pain, bleeding, or dramatic changes in your symptoms, you may want to check in with your doctor. These signs may mean a deeper evaluation may be needed or a physical exam. If you're tired of hearing that your labs are normal when you know something's off, you're not alone. Testing gives you the power to understand your hormones, and you can take real, meaningful steps with the right plan to get things back in balance. I'll leave a link in the description to all the tests I've talked about, and check out this video next on estrogen dominance, because this is one of the most common hormone imbalances in women.